Yes, pushing to win in life, lifting the heavy weight of existence creates damage. You can't just fight, push, go hard, hustle, and not replenish. Let's just jump straight in. Welcome. Let's start with some breathing before we begin. And welcome to what we'll call an artist proof. And artist proof is, for those who don't know, when an artist is in the process of creating a work. For example, as a photographer, when I take photos, those photos are then sent off to my printer. And the printer, the master printer, will make some adjustments to the file to make it the most optimal for printing at the highest quality, to reveal the deepest parts of what has been prepared. It might have been already had some corrective work done on the photo prior by the artist, by the photographer. But the master printer's job is to ensure that that which the creative has presented to him translates in the final print. And so when those prints are first created, they are called an artist proof. Oftentimes they're outside of the collection of a limited edition for which an artist might release to the public. So this, as we enter into this realm of bright, famed, shining, the podcast is an artist proof. And I'm quite sure there'll be a few of these on my agenda before the time is all said and done. But this is one of them. And so welcome. It is a rare opportunity for you to be in the mix of something while it's being created rather than the final finished product. So welcome to an artist proof of bright, fame, shining. With all of these sessions, I'd like to begin with getting ourselves settled. What that means is we're all coming from all different parts of the world, from different times in our lives, from different processes. A colleague of mine once asked me, well, who's your audience for the podcast? And normally that is a realm that is relegated to age, 25 to 40 or whatever the different circumstances are. For me, I believe the audience, you, are a matter of not your age, but your current life experience. We all have times where life just seems frustrating, just seems like it's not going in our direction. No matter how we try, no matter what we do, no matter what grand efforts we make, or no matter how we sit back and try to be still and let spirit guide us, sometimes we just feel like we're going in the wrong direction. We're not getting the result that we truly want. This is what this is all about. This is what this discussion is all about. This is what engaging you is all about. Not to say that you have all these problems and I'm here to fix them. No, I'm human. I have my own set of issues, and I hope that in the attempt to work through them here in front of you, that it serves a purpose for you. I do believe dialogue and open communication really is the manner of paving the pathway to peace. So let us begin. Place your hands on your legs. seated, as I'm sure you already are. And we're just going to take 8 deep breaths. You may leave your eyes open, you may close your eyes, but I think it can be more effective if you close your eyes. And this is not a meditation course, but this is a manner of being able to settle our day before we begin. So let us begin. I certainly needed that. So where to begin? I'm going to just go off the top of my head. Not very structured today. I just want to share. But I will share to begin. I believe that there are 8 principles that when focused on and when experiencing them at their greatest potential, at the greatest height, they make life wonderful. Those principles are as follows: health, love, prosperity, gratitude, joy, peace, contentment, victory. So today I am going to start with a reading. And I think this would be, I'm just going to find the page. This is the original copy of Daily Inspiration that I wrote in the last year of my mother's life. At that time, it was called Genesis, the Book of Daily Inspiration. And this is the actual only copy of the book in this form. I designed it. I moved to Medellin, Colombia, and designed the book there. And it's a matching of 70 parables I wrote over 70 mornings with photographs. And so I oftentimes, I think this is a great example of how we had a conversation like this with my friend Amir Suleiman the other day about how we move through life thinking, well, I prayed for this thing, or I meditated once, and think it's done. But yet, the maintenance of our best self is like brushing your teeth. You just got to do it. The more often you do it, the healthier your teeth. You do it every day, chances are you should hold on to some healthy teeth. If you do it twice a day, my God, you could have a bright, shining smile, right? But you got to do it. We don't seem to treat our mind and our mental health and our emotional health with the same understanding. This life is a downward escalator. You stop climbing. That's it. From the time you're born, you must move upwards and onwards always. An effort has to be made to the very day that you take your last breath. It must be made, and it must be constant. I'm not referring to pressure or stress or duress. I'm referring to efforts that we know make your life better. Heal your mind, heal your heart, heal your spirit, and then strengthen them. This is a daily process. When we are down and we're stressed, we have left out some of the elements necessary to our peace. The work. It sounds crazy because life is in the opposite direction. It prevents you from even having the time to, say, meditate or journal or be still. These things are necessary, absolutely necessary. There's no way forward in a peaceful manner, in a victorious manner, I should say, than to do the work. And that work is daily. It's like brushing your teeth. So I'm going to flip through this. Let me read something. And again, this is artist proof, so I'll be all over the place today. But I do hope that in these bits and pieces of the puzzle, the healing I find in the expression is also found by you in the listening. So let's try to find something interesting today. Make a promise to yourself and keep it. Cement the foundation of your character through accountability. Design a promise that betters your life and read it daily. Repeat it unto yourself as often as you like, and especially when you cross paths with difficulty. Do this until it becomes second nature. Like a great boxer who knows when to throw a counterpunch without thinking about it, or a race car driver who gears down as he enters a sharp curve with little to no contemplation. As you make it your practice to resort to your personal promise daily, you too will eventually act instinctually in ways that best serve you when trials show up in your life. What a gift it will be to face tribulation without panic or thought, and instead just gracefully be. Let's dive in. Let's dive into the big text. It says, promise yourself a great life. Have you done that? Have you ever sat down and just promised yourself a great life? Isn't it crazy to think, no, I haven't done that. We live our lives. We just keep going. First guided by our parents, influenced by our environment, impacted by our circumstances, and we go from the womb to adulthood. As children, we were sure. This is when we are in our absolute essence. We are sure. We are sure of our very being and our only mission: to learn. We have landed in this foreign place and we look around and everything is awe-inspiring. Your parents' face when you first are able to wipe away the glaze from birth and finally see is awe-inspiring. The dog is awe-inspiring. The sky is awe-inspiring. And this awe-inspiring way of being drives us to seek knowledge. It is only when we become an adult or somewhere in the midst of our teenage years that we start deciding that we know things. And in the knowing, we end the search. But the process, the the awe-inspiring process to desire information, to gather information so that we may crawl and then walk, so that we may murmur and then talk. This is what drives us. This is what life is about. Wow, look at that. How does it work? My parents are walking upright. I'm crawling on the floor. What's going on? How do I get to do that? The power of example. Are you a good example? Have you made promises to yourself? Let's make one today. Take a moment, take a time out. Just make a promise. I'll read it again. Let me read it again to make sure we're doing the right promise. Promise yourself a great life. Promise. I'll wait. I promise myself a great life. I promised myself a great life. Now the question is, how do you keep the promise? Well, the promise is an intention. Intentions are good. They serve you. And when you get lost, it's good to lean back on your intention. When I was a kid, I desperately wanted to be understood. I would say things 4 million different ways to be understood. My mom told me this. I asked her, what was I like before I knew, about being conscious of myself? She said, you just always want to be understood. And it's true. The single greatest gift of humanity and curse of humanity is our innate desire to be understood. We cannot find peace without feeling we're understood. Yes, it's good to be understood by those outside of you, friends, family. That's a given. If you are a person of any belief structure, you probably will accept that you're understood by the Creator. But the real gift, is to learn how to understand yourself. This mind plays tricks on you. It is so complex. It is so complicated. It is filled with so many computations, so much information going on at once through our smell, touch, sight, sound, taste. It's a lot of information. Knowing yourself amidst that is difficult beyond measure. Mostly because you're not awe-inspired by yourself. Instead, due to outward influences, you've become judgmental of yourself. Again, I say, think about yourself as a kid. You just played. You just kept it moving. Circumstances of life, people, outward influences created a scenario where you began to question yourself. And not in a good way. Through doubt. Through a misunderstanding of what your trials mean in your life. They are no more than lessons. So how do you make and keep this promise? Let's make it easy. How do you get fit? How do you build muscle? Go to the gym. You have to outwardly exert energy against a force that is to some degree immovable until you present upon that force enough energy to move it. A curl, running, you are exerting force against formerly immovable circumstances. Gravity meant to keep you still, yet we move. You've got to exert force against an immovable object. That's part one. It's external. Part two, you've got to ingest nutrients that help to repair the damage caused by your moving the immovable objects. Yes, pushing to win in life, lifting the heavy weight of existence creates damage. You can't just fight, push, go hard, hustle, and not replenish. Just like working out, you've got to feed the body. Now ask yourself, all the pressure you've put your mind under, all the years of pressure you've put your mind under by doubts or by fighting for something or by learning in school, trying to get that grade, trying to get that new position at work, that new job, learning a new skill, all this force. I'm not saying that it's bad. All this force that you've been applying to immovable objects to make your life better. Have you met that effort directly, fully, and wholly with what's needed? Replenishment, nutrients for the mind. You put it that way, it seems simple. And yet, many of us, we either don't know it, didn't think of it, or we know it, and we've thought of it, but we are missing the key element, consistency. Not for consistency's sake, but because life in and of itself is a downward escalator. You must continue to climb, but you better have some water. You better have some snacks, healthy snacks, so that you can have it in you to continue the journey forward. You must replenish the mind, the heart, the spirit, as you would the body. If you've got a notebook, grab it. It's not right beside you right now. No problem. I'll wait. Grab it. But open it up when you got it and write again. Promise yourself a great life. Make the promise, write it down. Now let's break that promise down. What is required of you to keep that promise? Is your promise happiness? Is your promise financial stability? Is your promise to be fit and strong? That's your choice. I always say, make it as broad and clear as possible. And when I say broad, I mean go to the source, foundation. Don't promise to make a lovely house for yourself. Promise to live a lovely life. And maybe that includes being in a lovely house. The bigger picture, reach and ask can fulfill the items below. Ask not for the fancy car, but the luxurious garage to park it in. Because if you can afford the luxurious garage and the fancy house, then you can have the car. That's a given, right? So let us make a promise for victory for ourselves in all aspects of life. Make a promise to faith in ourselves. Because whether you believe or not in the Creator, the greatest understanding of the Most High is to know the Most High in yourself. The awe-inspiring universe within has been created for you to remain on a path of learning. Because with each lesson, greatness awaits. But we must do our daily practice. There's so much more of this to come. But I think for today, I am fulfilled. And I pray honestly, and I hope honestly that some of this has landed on you. Some part of this has awoken something in you. And that you are moved, inspired, or at least annoyed that some emotional response is there. It means everything to me to be able to share this with you. And as I sit here today, finally committing to this podcast, committing to sharing these ideas with you in my imperfect self, I am grateful. I am present. I am victorious. See you next time.